Hey, everybody. Welcome to Wednesday of week 6. As we mentioned in the Slack channel, we're going to pause our AI programming for this session to give our brains a break and also to look at some fun stuff about really customizing your game projects by adding in custom art assets, whether you develop them yourself or you get them on an online marketplace. And I'll show you one of the biggest ones that's used for not only Unreal Engine, but also for Unity and Blender, fab.com. So we will be doing that today for today's session. So I will get my screen share going. And as always, make myself a little smaller here. Okay. All right. So let me first go over to our, let me pull back up the Epic Games launcher. So you've probably been using this over here on the section that has Unreal Engine. You have the news, samples. We've probably been going to library to launch our project. See, I've got a number of projects going on here. And underneath the My Projects is Fab Library. And these are all the things that you have downloaded or purchased. Let me close this real quick from Fab. Now, it looks like I only have 4 things here, but that's only because I only have a few categories selected. So I'm going to select all, and you should quickly get a sense for all the assets that I have. We're still just in the A's. And a lot of these I get for free because Epic Games usually releases free assets every, I think once a month. Um, for instance, I have a racing kit, apartment tech props, ballistics effects, and automotive winter scene. And when you click on these in your library, it'll take you over to Fab and it'll show you the details for that particular. This is a nice little outdoor scene with excellent lighting. Okay. And I'm going to switch actually over here to this Fab. And this is the main page. And I'm not signed in, which is okay because I wanted to draw your attention to this right here, this limited time free. And that is how I accumulated such a large library of assets. I have paid for some in the past, but I always pick up the free assets that they have at the beginning of the month, usually at the beginning. And that's how I've built my library. So let's see, I believe it's the next slide here, and we'll see what's free for this month. Okay, so I'll click on that. Looks like we have a day by the beach, usually $49. Let me let Carol back in or in. Okay. And we have a sci-fi dog. That's pretty cool. And if you look down here, it's got animations actually. So it's got some animations that come with it. Usually these will have a YouTube video that you can check out too. It'll tell you how many different materials it comes with and all kinds of cool stuff. So let's go back to the main and let's see what else. We have a day by the beach and a medieval sewer dungeon. And all you have to do is once you're logged into your account, it's gonna you just click buy now, and obviously it's free, and it's gonna add that to your back over here all your assets in your launcher. You do have to sometimes click here to reload. Okay, so that's how you can very easily get all kinds of materials, 3D models, animations, complete game systems, even. Um, there's some that have, like, I believe I have a shooter project. Just type shooter, And this is Complete Shooter. And this is a complete out of the box project that has everything in it. Has a health system, it has tracking, it has all different kind of weapon types. It has AI already in the game. It has leaderboards like for multiplayer. And this is an example of a complete game kit. And usually these are not free and they are pretty expensive. And I think that one is actually like at least $100, if not more. All right. So I will clear that. And that's kind of an intro to Fab. There is a tab that says Fab here, but really all this does is take you to the website. And then another thing that you might be interested, and this is not related to Fab, but it's called Sketchfab. And this is a site that has 3D models. It's exclusively 3D models. So I'll go ahead and log in real quick. I'll just log in with Google. Oh, no. It's wanting me to connect to Facebook. Oh, well, we won't worry about that. So if we type like Star Wars, you'll see all kinds of Star Wars models. The price, dollar means it costs. If it's got a download, it means it's free. You can also go here to load the 3D model, and it's got this nifty little thing here where you can actually spin the model around within the browser. And then you just, again, you do have to be logged in, but once you do, you can download the model. If you wanted to do Toy Story, maybe you want a Toy Story model for your game. Here's a Woody model that you could use. So Sketchfab is another great place, but it is exclusively for 3D models, not for things like architecture, or it probably does have architecture, but like game kits and things like that and animations it won't have. Okay, so the second part of what I really wanted us to look at today is pro, uh, project migration. So you see, I've got I've got a couple of projects here. I've got obviously our soccer game. That's what we're working on. I've got one that where we're casting spells. I've got a side scroller platform. I've got a third person combat game. I've got a marble game. And a lot of times, what you'll find is that you'll be working on a project and you'll say, you know what, I really liked that stadium I had in this other project, or all these grass textures, or I loved the trees that I had in the outdoor, and I'd really like to bring those over. And unfortunately, you can't just copy and paste. Sometimes that works in Unreal Engine, but usually it doesn't. So what we have to do is we have to use the migrate function. So I am going to go over here to this project that I have called Assets. That's the name of the project. And actually, I can remove this here. And this is, and it's also linked on Slack. I did send the link, so you can download the project. Do know that it's a little over 2 GB, so it might take a while. But I have a bunch of content here that I want to get into my soccer project. And we'll look at these. Some of these are really cool once we get these migrated. Okay, so what we need to do is, with the project open, we'll go to the file, or actually, I wanted to show you this first also real quick. So if you're wondering how I was able to zip up the project, the soccer project, like the latest build, as well as this assets project that I've made available, you typically do not want to go into File Explorer and do this. You do not want to go to Unreal Projects, right click, and compress to zip. that is, again, can break some references because if you recall, a lot of things in Unreal have references to other assets. So, for instance, this cylinder has a reference to this material, which is in a completely different folder. So, the correct way to do that is to go to the File and then Zip Project. And it'll start a zip, and you just specify which folder. As you can see, I've already done it for this project we're working on here. And, for a 2 GB project, it, should take about 30 seconds. All right, so let's talk about asset migration. And what we're going to do here is we're going to select our main content folder right here at the root level. That's very important. And with that selected, we're going to right click, and we've got a bunch of options here. The one we're looking for is migrate. As you can see, the tooltip copies assets found here and dependencies, and that's the important thing of why we use the migrate, to another content folder in another project. Okay, so just to review that again, we're going to go to the content folder and right click and migrate. And with your soccer project, if you have some assets that you really, really like, you could do the same thing. You could migrate from your soccer project to another project. So I'll click migrate, and I guess I'm not going to save that. Okay. And this is going to bring you this big table here. Let me see if I can collapse these folders. We don't need to see all the folders. Okay. So these correspond to the folders over here. And what I'm really interested in is this props pack, the soccer folder, the soccer player girl, and the broadcast studio. Since our game that we have already has the third person character, I don't need that. Level prototyping is just tools that come with every basic project. Input we don't need, and I don't need characters again because we already have that. So I just want to do this broadcast studio, these props, this soccer folder, and this soccer player girl. So, and again, be sure that you uncheck stuff that you don't need because it could overwrite things in your game. So if for instance I had select third person, that would overwrite our player that we've been customizing. All right, with that selected, I'll say okay. And now here is the other very, very important part that trips up a lot of people at first. When it says choose a destination content folder, very important, this word content folder. So when I was first learning how to do this, I would go and just say, oh, okay, soccer. And then I would just say select folder. No, it has to specifically be the content folder. So always be sure that you're taking from one content folder over to another content folder. So I will double click that and say select folder. And then it's going to start migrating the packages. And I'm hoping that this doesn't take, okay, these are from one of the assets that's got an error, so don't worry about those. But hoping that this doesn't take too long. So while this is going, any questions about what we've talked about so far, about Fab, about Sketchfab, about where to get assets? Okay. Well, we'll let this finish up, and actually I will go show you one more place to get assets, and this is specifically for characters and animations. It is called Mixamo, and this is made by Adobe, and it is a free. You do have to have an Adobe account, but it doesn't have to be a paid account. You can just sign up for a free Adobe account. And when you log in, and I'll just continue with Google. All right. So here we have characters, and I think there's, I don't know, I mean, it's a pretty decent amount of characters that you can use for free in your projects. You click on it, we'll say don't show. It's going to give you a T-pose here. You can move around the 3D viewport. Okay, try a different character, a couple different ones. Okay, we'll do Jody. And these aren't, I mean, yeah, they are pretty great looking characters, but they're not like AAA quality. Like if you zoom real in, you see the textures are not, like 8K quality, but these are perfect for kind of prototyping a game. This guy actually looks like a soccer player. Okay. And then all you got to do is you can download and you can choose an FBX file, which is perfect for Unreal, but I'm not going to download these. But the other cool thing is animations. So there are hundreds of animations that you can also attach to the character and download. So I will just type soccer. Okay. And when you click on any of the animations, find a good one. The character will perform that animation. And you can actually adjust some things. So if you think he's a little too bouncy or a little too hyper, you could adjust those. Then when you download that, you'll also see the frames per second and keyframe. That means you're also downloading the animation. And even just for the soccer ones, there's a ton of animations. A goalkeeper placing the ball. Okay. So that is Mixamo. Again, it does require a free Adobe account, which is just a login. But that is that. And I think now we are able to close this and open our other project, which is soccer. And we should see, just let me hide that again. I'm not sure how that got there. We should be able to see the new assets that we have. And you'll get to see some that are included in that zip file. So if you want to add them to your project and do a little more decoration, you can feel free to. In fact, what we're going to do is we're going to finish up our AI early or tomorrow and early next week, and then we're going to spend the rest of the course, which will be the next week and the week after that, doing what we call polish in game development, and that's where we take, okay, um, we have a working game, right? It keeps score. We have a time limit, but we have a lot of placeholder art, right? We have, our field doesn't have any texture or grass on it. There's, we're kind of out here in the middle of just a grid, a plane. We want it to make it look a little realistic, so we'll add some polish to it, as well as to the user interface, right? Because right now we just have very basic when we play the game. It just has the two numbers at the top. All right, so I have loaded up and I can already see I've got this broadcast studio, industry props, soccer, and soccer player girl. So let's see. Let's take a look at these. Broadcast Studio. And a lot of times when you download a an environment from the Fab Store, it will include a map. It'll have a folder called Maps or Levels. And typically what you'll have is one like this, which is Overview. So I'll load that up. And the overview is going to show you all the assets that come with that environment. So we see, yeah, we got some really cool stuff like a film camera, um, some Really nice furniture. Look at the quality of that texture right there. Wow. And some walls, all kinds of cool stuff that we can use in our game. And if you click on something, like say, "Ooh, I really like this chair. Where is this chair in my content folder?" You can click here, and that'll drill you down right to it. So we can see, okay, it's in Broadcast Studio, Meshes, and Guest Chair. All right. And so this is the overview, but a lot of them will also come with a showcase. So here is an example of given these meshes, what you could build. So here is a level or a scene that was built using those assets from that asset pack. And this is free, actually. This is made by Epic Games. This is a broadcast studio. And a lot of people, like a lot of esports and streamers, have actually put virtual avatars using this asset and done streaming shows. Okay, so that's cool. Let's take a look at what else we have. We have industry props pack. Again, we have a showcase and an overview. So I'll double click the overview. And this has got some cool, some of these things. I don't know how much we would use for a soccer game. Maybe you say this is, well, the boxes, this is where all the water bottles came from. Um, nice tarp. Okay, so go back to there, and then the showcase is probably not going to be much different for this particular asset. Yeah, it's just they kind of put it in a warehouse. All right, cool. So there's some more things, and then let's see what else we got. We got the soccer, and let's look at some of these meshes here. Okay, so we got a flag, we got a camera, and obviously you can double click on any of these and look at the individual model. So this might be nice to use in our actual game here. 4K camera. We got a chair. We got, oh, it's got cones. So, we made our own cones, but maybe we're like, hey, these look more like a cone. Let's use those. And they also have a goal keep. Ooh. So we could say, oh, does this one look better than ours? Maybe we want to use this one. Maybe it has the mesh actually has cloth simulation, which I don't think ours does. Okay, so that's cool. And then the last one is the soccer player girl. And there's a map here and a demo. Okay, and it looks like, yeah, I'm gonna have to do this real quick. So it says here, turn on virtual textures. Okay, so let me go to project settings, virtual textures, make sure that's enabled. Enable virtual textures. Oh, it is enabled. Virtual textures. Oh, there it goes. It works. Okay. So we'll press play here, and this is probably going to give us a demonstration of all the animations if I don't fall off the map. And do we remember how to fix that? A couple ways. We could just take this grid right here and maybe extend it a little bit, or actually, I'll just drop a player start. Basic player start. This up a little bit. Yeah. Player start. Move up. Okay. So, yep, there's all the animations. Pretty cool. Comes with a soccer ball too. So maybe we say, oh, maybe that soccer ball is better than ours. And here's the different models. Actually, this is the same model. It just has different materials to give the player different looks. So you can see their face is the same, but the materials for the hair color is just a different color. All right. Okay, so we've migrated all that. Now let's see how we could maybe use this in our level. And I know we're getting close to time here, so it won't take too long. So I'm going to open up soccer, and this is really a really handy feature when you're working specifically with 3D meshes, and that is to put your select your root content folder, and we're going to go over here. I'm just going to reset these filters. I clicked on this little funnel here, and then I'm going to say, show me all of my static meshes. So static meshes are just inert, excuse me, inert 3D objects, whereas skeletal meshes are like your characters' skeletons and bones and such. So we'll click here, and just real quickly, we can see every single thing that we could place in our level. And let's go over here to this table. And I'm not sure what happened to our material there, but like, okay, I can put a box here. Covered box. Maybe I'll put that one on the ground. Rotate it a little bit. And let's see. Camera stand. Put that there. Bring this camera in. What else do we have here? Maybe some plants. Fancy chair to watch the game from the sidelines. Nice leather chair. Why not? Oh, did I? Oh, I hit the wrong thing. Sorry. Chair. There we go. And let's see, we'll grab one more thing. Oh, the camera. This thing is really cool. Maybe we want this to be behind the net, a couple of these. Okay, and then let's just, yeah, let's press play. And we'll just run over here to look at our stuff. We'll have to see, well, does it have collision? It does, so we don't have to worry about that. Okay, so we could jump up on it. The plants probably don't have collision because they're so small. The camera does, chair does, and these probably do as well. All right. So that is, and let's see, one more. This soccer folder actually has a huge stadium shell. Let me undo that and show you again. So it has a lot of huge stadium pieces. If any of you get really ambitious and want to kind of piece together a stadium, let me see if they have a map here of their demo characters. No, they didn't have, I don't think they did have a level, but they have all the pieces here to build a huge stadium with rafters and all that kind of stuff, even stands. You can see right here, these stands. So, all right. Sorry, we ran a little late. I'll stop the recording right here. And again, if you are interested in grabbing those assets, the link is on the Slack channel. And I do encourage you to at least try one more time or once to practice migrating assets from one project to another, because you'll find you will be doing that a lot if you're doing a lot of game development in Unreal Engine. All right. that is it. Thank you as always, and I will see everybody Thursday. Have a great rest of your day and evening. Bye.
You too. Thanks. Bye.
Mhm.